Hello, this is Giuseppe Conti. I am the founder of Conti Advanced Business Learning, a company that specializes in negotiation and influencing. The topic of today is gender differences in influencing during meetings. It is a topic where there is not exhaustive research, sometimes even contradicting findings. I will also say that we cannot take those differences as something that applies to everyone, because we know that there are normal distribution curves of behavior. So there are females that behave in certain ways, there are males that behave in different ways. We just will be talking about what is happening on average and may or may not apply to you. It will also depend on status, it will also depend on the context of the interaction. Let's go for some of those general differences which we may see in the meeting rooms. A first difference is around the aim for the meeting, because men are more likely to be having a meeting for a specific outcome, while women will also be looking at a social connection during the interaction. This difference in aims leads also to a difference in the way we behave during the meeting. When men are in a meeting, they're more likely to use decisive language. They're more likely to make statements rather than asking questions, and more use of I statement as opposed to we statements. When we compare it instead with the average behavior of female, then we see that they have more of a tendency to use we statement, to have a more collaborative approach in the way they communicate, to ask more questions rather than making statements, and also sometimes some limiting language messages, hesitant sentence, like, could it be possible that maybe we look at this? Or maybe minimizing words. Well, a little bit of that. Let's try to understand how those kind of things may play out in a meeting. Let's say that there is a meeting where we have to decide where to launch our next product, which is a tea. As the different people start getting together, there is a male to start talking and says, I believe we should launch this product in India because it's such a big country. Another male executive again tends to talk first and says, well, no, I believe we should launch it in the UK. The third male person says, no, I'm convinced that Australia is the right place to launch this meeting. The female participants that tend to talk later and ask questions rather than making statements are more likely to say, should we consider launching it in Japan, which is a country which drinks tea and has high income? Well, the discussion keeps going, and then 10 minutes later, there is a male executive who says, I believe we should launch it in Japan. And then people say, yeah, John, you're right, let's launch in Japan. So John gets the credit for the decision of Japan, while the idea really came from the female executive. Well, let me also give a good news to female executive. They tend to be much better at using emotions than men. What I mean is that men have more of a tendency to use rational messages, while females are better at balancing rational and emotional messages, and we know that are the emotions that drive us into action. Now, taking into account those differences that, as we said, may not apply to all individuals, look at your own behavior and try to see which are the kind of things that you may want to change in order to be more effective when influencing others during meetings. For more insight on negotiation and influencing, check our website www.cabl.ch. Thank you very much.